It's called a 5-word review. Now, I don't have any real preparation for this one, a lot less for my 5-word reviews than I usually do. I saw the King's Speech weeks ago, maybe it was more than a month ago, and so this is obviously very overdue. And usually, I do a review shortly after I see the film, so I have a lot of things fresh in my head of what I want to say. And there are obviously a lot of benefits to that I will actually have things to say as I go along. But then, on the other hand, I think waiting a while really gives you a chance to let the movie sink in and let you gather your real emotions about it. And I think that a month's time, or however long it's been a while, is just a perfect amount of time for me to really think things over. So, to get things started, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I might start doing it this way from now on. I'm experimenting with how to do these 5-word reviews constantly. So if you guys like something more or less than anything else, tell me in the comments, and I will try to employ that as much as I can. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do this with 3 adjectives and then 2 nouns. And the 2 nouns are going to be 2 things specifically about the film, technically, that stuck out to me. So I'll just jump into it and it'll make more sense as I go. So my first adjective, my first word for the film is sweet. The King's Speech. It's very straightforward. It's a very heartfelt movie. You the whole time you definitely want Colin Firth's character to succeed. You absolutely follow him on his journey, and they do a great job of pulling you in and really getting you to feel for him. And then in addition to that, Geoffrey Rush is absolutely charming. He is a great well-casted character to play off of Colin Firth. Colin Firth being the son of a king who must take over as the king, someone of royalty and extreme elegance, and someone who's seen as higher up, and people worship him. And yet Geoffrey Rush's character is the one person in the movie who sees him as a person and not as a symbol of leadership, which is a good thing and what he should be seen as. But at the same time, it's kind of established that Colin Firth's character is a lonely guy, and Geoffrey Rush's character becomes, well, as he says, his best friend, and their relationship is very sweet, very fun to watch. It made me laugh a lot of the time, just the way they interacted. So, my second word is quirky. And by quirky, specifically what I think of is a lot of the cinematography. A lot of the cinematography actually made me laugh out loud. Not because it was bad, by any means, but because it was just so... it just fit the mood very well. Like, there's a scene where Geoffrey Rush is interrogating Colin Firth, to try to get him to come out of his shell, to try to get him to talk to talk more, because he needs him to, talk so he can diagnose and help him fix his speech impediment. And while he's talking, in this scene, Colin Firth's character is very reserved. He doesn't want to talk. He's just sitting there on the couch of Geoffrey Rush's office, just sitting on the couch, looking very reserved. His body is very tightly, he's kind of holding himself. He's not taking up a lot of the couch. He's in one corner of the couch. And the camera is positioned in such a way where Colin Firth only takes up, I'd say, the bottom left fourth of the screen, maybe even the bottom left ninth of the screen. And so it's him in the bottom left corner, Colin Firth, and then the rest of the shot is just wall, and it makes him look very small, very insignificant, and it just adds to the overall kind of awkwardness of the scene. And so yeah, just the way the movie looked, in a good way, made me laugh sometimes. And yeah, that happens a lot. Obviously, the characters, Geoffrey Rush is very quirky overall. He's a very lovable character, not only professionally when he's dealing with Colin Firth, but there are a few scenes where you see him like playing with his children, and it's just a very lovable guy, and very quirky guy, obviously. So yeah, the way it was shot, the acting and performances overall were very well done. My third word is charming. I have to say, this might just be the most charming movie I've ever seen, or it's definitely up there at the very least. Goes along with what I've been saying. The whole time you just want Colin Firth to succeed so badly, and they do it really well by opening up with his big failure, his moment of the moment that will require him to have a comeback in the end, and his moment of failure is rather hard to watch, and you can really see the pain in him throughout the movie that, he doesn't want to try again. And it takes him, I don't know, it's like over a decade until he tries again. So, yeah, very charming. Something else I guess I just kind of want to add on that goes more with the sweet word, but also goes with charming, is Helena Bonham Carter's performance. She was nominated for Best Supporting for this role, and she played it very well, although she was not a very big part of the movie. She definitely was the supporting actress. She was kind of the only actress in the movie who had a part. And but it focuses more on Geoffrey Rush and Colin Firth. So while I think if she was in the movie more, I would agree more with her potentially being given the Oscar for Best Supporting. Although a nomination is nice, and I think it's something that she deserves. And yeah, going back to the sweetness, charming thing, her performance with how she handles her husband, it's just very, very realistic. She's so supportive of him, and even when he, refuses to when he refuses to confront his own problems, she's always there. She's always the first one to say, you've got to confront your problems, and I'm going to help you through it. And the whole movie, there are a few scenes between them where it's just the two of them, and they have to have kind of, like, the scene requires them to just have a natural couple feeling. And some of the scenes are very adorable, very sweet between the two of them. So, yeah, just awesome performances from them that makes the whole chemistry and the whole feeling of the movie overall very charming, very sweet, and of course very quirky. So those are my 3 main words. Now my 2 nouns are going to be 2 things with the movie that technically I thought were superior above everything else. Not to say the whole movie overall was great. Awesome writing, awesome direction, great costumes, which I don't really care about, but you get my point. The whole thing was great, but 2 things that stuck out to me were, first, the casting of Geoffrey Rush, Colin Firth, and Helena Bonham Carter. I've said a lot about them already, so I won't really drag it out, that their chemistry is awesome, and I'm very glad that all 3 of them have received Oscar nods, and I hope that at the very least Colin Firth wins the Oscar. I would also love to see Geoffrey Rush win Best Supporting, and I haven't seen The Fighter, so I don't know. From what I've heard, Christian Bale is supposed to be in it for that, or in it to win it for that. So yes, the 3 of them very deserving of their Oscar nominations. The casting was perfect, so great job there. And secondly, cinematography, and this was outstanding. And it was nothing epic or groundbreaking, but it was outstanding in a much simpler, and sometimes this could be considered a better way for a movie to be considered outstanding, in that the cinematography was very subtle, and it added to the mood of the movie perfectly. There were so many scenes, like I said earlier, the one where he's on the couch and he takes up the bottom left hand of the screen. It takes the mood of the scene and not only adds to it by making the mood more prevalent, but also just kind of makes the scene as a whole stand out, makes it more entertaining just to look at and kind of funny to look at in a good way. Shit, I feel like I was something else I was going to say and I forgot it. Okay, I'll just move on. Yeah, so my 5 words, my 3 adjectives for the King's Speech are sweet, quirky, and charming, and the 2 technical film aspects of this movie that I thought were outstanding above everything else were the casting and the cinematography. So, King's Speech, I would highly recommend it. I really hope it wins a bunch at the Oscars. There's a lot of talk that it's going to be kind of left behind with all the other nominees up there. I mean, all the nominees this year were outstanding, and there's a few other reviews I still have to get to, including Black Swan, which hopefully I'll do right after this, but we'll see. So yeah, King's Speech. Excellent movie, one of the most charming films I've ever seen, with brilliant performances. So, to you guys, thanks as always for watching. Have a nice night, and to the King's Speech, best of luck at the Oscars. I will be cheering for you. Good night, guys.